I call on I call on Graham Day. I forgot your name for a moment. I call on Graham Day to close for the Government Minister till decision time, please.
Presiding Officer, let me begin by thanking members for their contributions to a debate that served, I think, to remind all of us that many MSPs from across the political spectrum have a close personal interest in our armed forces community. The role of Veterans Minister is one I'm delighted and honoured to take on. In the 3 months between being appointed and this my first debate as Scottish Veterans Minister, I've visited a range of organisations and employers that support veterans. I've been meeting veterans ranging in age and situation, and in many conversations with them, which has been giving me helpful insights and ideas into where we need to focus as a government. It's all been extremely helpful because my job is to build on Keith Brown's work on improving the lives of and support for our armed forces and veterans community here in Scotland. And it was excellent work, including the creation of the Veterans Commissioner post and the redevelopment of the Scottish Veterans Fund. And I join Jackie Bailey, Maurice Corrie and Mark Griffin in recognising that. And in terms of helpful pointers, let me welcome a number of contributions from today's debate from colleagues. Maurice Corrie noted the role of local health and social care partnerships in delivering service. I agree with him. I think they're pivotal to delivery in terms of long-term sustainable services, and I would expect them to deliver in a way that reflects veterans' priorities and the military covenant commitments. Angela Constance noted the work of the Scottish War Blinded, and having attended their annual conference, I was very much struck by the incredibly positive view that users had of the support being afforded them by that organisation. Brian Whittle highlighted the work of Holly Bush House, which I also visited recently, and he's correct about the great work done there by Combat Stress. And let me note, in acknowledging that, the partnership working that's going on there between Combat Stress and Ayrshire and Arran NHS. And his analogy between athletics and armed forces was quite thought-provoking, and I think it will have resonated with the veterans present. Alex Rowley, and another thoughtful and considered contribution, touched on the data gathering issue. And I'm not in a position to greatly expand on what I said to him in the exchange of letters. But for the benefit of the Chamber, the Government is looking at how information that's held on the NHS Central Register might be transferable to the ISD in order that we can improve the collection of data on veterans and who have contact with NHS mental health services. And once established, that information can be used not only to track the tragedies that occur at times, but also highlight those who are at risk and what support they might need. So there's a lot of potential there, and I welcome Alec Rowley's interest in that subject. Gordon MacDonald and James Dornan both offered some interesting ideas around housing. And let me acknowledge James Dornan's efforts to secure Glasgow Housing Association's commitment to provide 10 houses specifically for service personnel on an annual basis. There were a number of other very welcome contributions. Jackie Bailey set me a series of challenges. I'm not going to have the time to respond to those in detail, but I too look forward to engaging on these, I think. Presiding Officer, one of the first tasks I embarked upon in government was to undertake a range of discussions with my ministerial colleagues to ensure that we have a whole-of-government approach to supporting our armed forces community. I'm pleased to say that across areas such as health, housing and employability, the response has been entirely positive. We'll be working closely together, potentially with other colleagues in the year ahead, to improve and refine the support on offer to our veterans. And partnership working across the public, private and charitable sector is also key here. And the role played, for example, by armed forces champions and local authorities remains crucial. I'm committed to strengthening our network of champions in local authorities as well as other public bodies and work in genuine partnership with them. Presiding Officer, as well as updating Parliament, this debate has provided an opportunity to welcome our new Veterans Commissioner, Charlie Wallace, to the post and thank Eric Fraser for his work over the past 4 years. I'd entirely echo the earlier words of thanks from around the Chamber and note in particular Eric's work to change perceptions and ensure we see veterans as assets, not burdens. I think that's been incredibly important. The Scottish Government this week has published the Scottish Government Support for Veterans and Armed Forces Community in Scotland document, which sets out some of what we have delivered, but also highlights the actions we're taking to look across ministerial portfolios at service delivery to identify and understand areas for improvement. The needs of veterans are likely to change in the years ahead as we see a shift in the demographics of the population, so it's right we consider how we need to adapt going forward. We're working as part of reviewing our service provision, and in keeping with that partnership approach I touched on earlier, we're working alongside the Ministry of Defence and other devolved administrations on a new veterans strategy. Presiding Officer, we're extremely aware that accurate data and better identification at the point of referral are essential to develop a clearer picture of needs. I'm therefore delighted to confirm a positive outcome to the Royal British Legion and Poppy Scotland's Count Them In campaign, as touched upon by Angela Constance. Earlier today, the National Records of Scotland set out the current plans for the census in 2021, which included a new question on veterans to provide robust statistics on the size, location and profile of our veterans here in Scotland. I know that this plan will be welcomed widely, and it will help us, along with our partner organisations, to develop and improve services. The final decision, of course, will lie with the Scottish Parliament, but I can advise members that, subject to the legislative agenda, a draft order will be laid in late 2019. However, we're also aware that having easy access to the right information is vital for the armed forces community, in particular those who are transitioning out of the services or perhaps moving to Scotland for the first time. Over the past year, the Government has therefore continued to improve how we provide information about the services that are available. For example, in June we published Welcome to Scotland. Information was also a key recommendation in the Commissioner's Housing Report, and this year we've published an updated version of the Housing Guide, redesigned to improve its content, visual impact and accessibility. I'm also continuing to work with my colleague, the Minister for Local Government, Housing and Planning, to look at how we can better address and prevent homelessness and amongst our veterans population. The Veterans Employability Strategic Group, very briefly.
Maurice Corrie.
I welcome the comments the Minister said. In relation to MOD housing, I have had some success with that MOD label, Royal Navy in Faslane, where we have moved families around there. So there is a door, there's an opportunity there, and if the Minister would like to discuss how I did it, I'm more than happy to do so.
Minister, there's an invitation you can't
Absolutely, another invitation to engage, and I'll take that offer up. The Veterans Employability Strategic Group is progressing our engagement on employability and continues to take forward the Veteran Commissioner's previous recommendations, including in areas such as work placements, accreditation and mapping of military skills into the civilian workplace. Earlier today, I was pleased to launch a Veterans Employability Concordat with key partners on the Veterans Employability Strategic Group, which sets out our enduring partnership arrangement and to support those transitioning from the armed forces into fulfilling civilian careers. We're also accelerating opportunities to create business workspaces near military bases to help those who want to develop their own business. We are, of course, lucky to have a strong veterans charitable sector here in Scotland, and I've already had the opportunity to meet with Veterans Scotland, Poppy Scotland, Legion Scotland and many others who are delivering great support. And the Scottish Government continues to support veterans organisations and the charities directly through the Scottish Veterans Fund. These projects and initiatives provide essential support to our veterans community. This year marks the 10th year anniversary of the Veterans Fund, with more than £1.3 million given to over 150 projects throughout Scotland. Presiding Officer, looking to the future, our focus will continue to be on working positively and collaboratively across government and the wider charitable and private sectors to champion our armed forces community. There are great examples of support for veterans throughout local authorities in Scotland, and I'm keen to see that best practice shared widely. I'm also keen that we continue to see cross-party support both here and more locally on delivering for veterans. I think this debate today has shown that MSPs, in the main, are capable of taking that approach, and let me acknowledge and welcome that. Presiding Officer, we know that there are many areas where we are leading the way here in Scotland. A number of members have acknowledged that, but it's right that we take stock in order to ensure we're maximising efficiency and ensure we are adapting to changing needs. Because, Presiding Officer, I and my ministerial colleagues, along with the other members of this Parliament, remain committed to providing the best possible levels of support for veterans both now and in the future. Presiding Officer.